Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Planescape Torment. I almost said Baldur's Gate for a second there, but that's not what we're playing. We're playing we're playing Planescape Torment, and we just met Deonara's father. He did give us some information. There was a fire apparently that burned some documents. I'm sure we have something to do with that. Let's head in here. Finnum the linguist. Huh. Well.
Aye, what?
First of all.
Why not?
Pardon me. Nothing back there.
Got it.
I'll take that gold bracelet. Alright, he doesn't care that I've taken that. Hello! This short, scholarly man, a tight, nervous frown on his face, looks you up and down. Greetings, I am Finnum. I must beg your pardon, sir, but I care little for guests, invited or otherwise, so unless you've business with me, I would ask you to leave. I did have some questions. I would have you know that I am a scholar and a linguist, sir. While I shall happily entertain any questions regarding my field of study, language and the like, I can be of no help to you in other matters. Never mind that for a while, but I have your book. Okay, I guess I can't do anything about his book right now. Curiosity shop. Standish. This downtrodden little man scurries about the curiosity shop, dusting, cataloging, and moving things about for the place's proprietress. You notice he smells faintly of onions. He glances up at you nervously as you approach him. Please, sir, I cannot speak with you. I've work to do. My mistress simply won't allow it. I just had a few questions. I'm sorry, sir, but I can't. Please leave me be, before my mistress notices me talking to you. But I'm talking to you, not the other way around. Your mistress? The little man nods. Yes, Mistress Vrischika? Vrischika. Mistress Vrischika. I am Standish, her servant, her slave. I committed a crime and was sentenced to slavery, then purchased in a lower ward, like many of her slaves, most of whom she keeps at her manor. Now please, I beg of you, leave me be, or she'll become angered and beat me unmercifully. Alright, farewell, Standish. Shelves full of mugs, plates, books, decanters, candle holders, and other bric-a-brac. Most are of strange metals or minerals, and many of the books appear to be bound in flesh. Massive battle standard. It looks to be made of some scaled creature's hide. Its sight stirs up faint memories. You may not have seen this particular one before, but others like it, perhaps. Hey, Clerk's Word Citizen just popped in. That's the shelves. An empty book holder, holding a set of invisible books. Several very large teeth, a dozen smaller ones lie stacked on a shelf above them. 3 orbs which resemble nothing so much as large colored pearls. They tremble slightly at your touch and give off a faint warmth. Alright, what's next? Shelves full of mugs. Shelves full of mugs. These swords are beautiful, worked with delicate engravings and inscriptions. They are merely decorative, however, unsuitable to use in combat. I think that's about everything. Alright. This sharp-featured woman's appearance is attractive, though somewhat disturbing, with her blue-black skin and bright yellow eyes. As she examines you, a small pair of bat-like wings unfold from her back, then seem to settle back into her skin. Well, well, a floating, disembodied, prevaricating skull and fall from grace, or whatever it is you call yourself now. Truly a pleasure to see you here. What do I owe the honor of your visit? I thought that you rarely trafficked among our kind anymore. She glances at you for a moment, with the same faint sneer. Or is your assignment here almost finished? I do not know what assignment you are referring to, Vrischika, though your presence here brings with it many questions.
Last I had heard, you were a standard bearer for the Company of the Vulture. How did you come to Sigil?
She replies curtly, firing a question back like an arrow.
By choice. And you? Where will your orders take you next?
She suddenly turns to you.
You see, little man,
Vrischika smiles, as if savoring the words.
The best temptress is one that can make you buy into the illusion of being both promiscuous yet virtuous at the same time. A prostitute priestess, as it were. Mistress Grace is among the greatest.
She turns to fall from grace.
Are you not? You would not think that a score thousand years of slavery had left their scars, no?
Fall from grace speaks with a coldness you have never heard before. The air almost becomes ice as she dissects Vrischika with her glance.
That is enough. Very well, though you are the ones who came into my emporium.
Vrischika looks at you.
She narrows her eyes. You're the scarred man who's been going around asking all the questions.
She looks you up and down.
You sure look lost. Did you want to come in, really, or are you just casing the place in case you have nothing better to do? Because Vrischika, she indicates herself, can help you.
How can you help me?
I travel and trade extensively. I hear a great deal. I purchase a great deal, and I own a great deal. Perhaps I can make you a great deal. Is there anything that you desire?
Only answers to some questions. Or perhaps what are you selling?
Would you care to examine the weapons and charms, or some of my more exotic acquisitions?
The weapons and charms. Tear of Salieri Day. Hammer of Comminution. 4 to 14 crushing damage, plus 1 to 6 acid damage, plus 1... It's considered... I guess that means it's considered +1 weapon. It's a +2 to hit. Research reveals that this is a formidable weapon indeed, far superior to a normal sledgehammer. This warhammer, also called the Hammer of Comminution, delivers a devastating strike that not only inflicts crushing damage, but also fractures any surface contacts, whether bone, metal, or wood, inflicting extra damage. And if the victim survives, it also softens him up for the next attack. The Hammer of Comminution was used extensively by Enote, a Doomguard priest, in 14 EU. A philosopher who was prone to violent mood swings while debating theology, he was known to espouse the virtues of the hammer as a means of furthering the decay of dead matter. Whether or not what he struck with the hammer was dead or alive before the blow is open to debate. And yet it's usable only by fighters. I think it's probably because she can't use a lot of these types of weapons. Let's see. This is an artifact, it says. Special, +1 bonus to Constitution. Usable only by lawful good characters. This glistening red tear was shed... Is this equipable, or what? This glistening red tear was shed by the martyred Harmonium officer Salieru Day when he was put to death on the Harmonium's home plane of Ortho. Mistaken as a member of the hated Revolutionary League, Salieru Day's obedience and loyalty was such that he could not bring himself to challenge the allegations of his superiors. At the moment of his execution, 3 red tears fell from his right eye and turned to stone as they fell upon the flagstones of the square. Ironically enough, an anarchist subsequently revealed the Harmonium's mistake to the public, discrediting them. Ever since, the tears of Salieru Day have been considered relics of the Harmonium, and used as a lesson to the evils of unquestioning obedience by the Revolutionary League. I am buying that. I'm lawful good right now. Teeth of the Fire Drake. 1 to 6 slashing. In addition to 3 to 8 fire damage, immunity to fire. These teeth look more like lumps of charred bones than actual teeth. Although their origin is unknown, it can be deduced that they were taken from some fire-breathing creature. Using the teeth grants the wearer certain benefits normally possessed by such creatures. That sounds pretty good. Angleless eye, magnifying lens. Usable only by Modrons. Oh, so we're going to get a Modron. Or, well, we'll have an opportunity to get a Modron at some point. +10 to lore skill, -2 to damage. -2 to missile weapons. The snap-on lens is good for examining things up close, but makes for poor sighting scope. So in other words, you just equip it when you want to identify some items. Lens of Inherent Viciousness, +2 to damage, +2 to missile weapons. This snap-on magnifying lens somehow seems inherently vicious to you. You can't really explain why this is. You have a strange feeling it's looking at you sometimes, sizing you up. Dread Bond. Immunity to panic, +1 to strength. Usable only by fighters and living creatures. Legend has it that this bracelet was created by Nasik the Sadistic. Tiny razor-sharp spikes cover the entire surface of this item, injecting small amounts of rare reagents into the blood of the user. The effect of these chemicals causes the user to feel a constant adrenaline rush of strength. Weight 3. I guess that's like a bracelet or something. Scroll of Cloudkill. Spider bracelet. 25% resistance to all normal attacks. +10 to base hit points. -1 to intelligence. -1 to wisdom. In actuality, this is a living spider, not jewelry. When attached to one's wrist, the spider will sink its fangs into the user's flesh and feed from the host, providing both beneficial and detrimental effects. Tempted to get that for Anna. Ashes of the Pabulum. Summons Trellons. Not usable by mages, usable only by the Nameless One. These ashes are all that remain of a school of illusionists called the Pabulum. According to their expedition logs, they traveled to the plane of Shale in search of the lost works of the Fosterer, a powerful sorcerer who once ruled an empire where the plane of Shale now lies. The naive illusionists were successful, and they stumbled across one of his lost works, a hive of vicious creatures called the Trellons. The remains of the mages were found days later by 2 barrier scouts and were burned over a pyre as a symbol of their folly. To unlock the power of these ashes, one only needs to stir them with the index finger of the left hand, then sprinkle a pinch of the ashes into the air in a circular pattern. The smell of the remains on these dead mages is said to cause a Trellon to appear and serve the user. No one knows where the Trellon originated from, but they seem to combine the worst characteristics of demons and insects. They seem to bear an insane hatred for mages, but the reason for this is unknown. And Heart of the Fosterer. Minor artifact. Summons the Somian. Usable only by evil and neutral characters. The strange object is said to be the Heart of the Fosterer. According to the legend, the Fosterer was a sorcerer who built his empire upon the plane of Shale many centuries ago. He was rumored to have 3,333 hearts, and each of them carried in it a different evil he had committed in his lifetime. One of the evils he committed was the discovery of how to summon the Somian and bind them to his will. It is said that the Fosterer was carried away by these beasts after he invoked them against some ancient foe, leaving only his hearts behind. According to planar scholars, the Somian are fiendish horses, said to have been born from the blood of the last of the Nightmare Lords. They're not so much flesh and bone as an abstract given substance. They come to anyone who seeks revenge and bind themselves to them. They were born from a great treachery at the Gloom Meet, the time when the fiends gathered to speak to the others of their kind. The nightmares ride the skies to gather the fiends to this meeting, acting as messengers. While the fiends saw the nightmares are helpful, convenient allies, they had grown tired of bartering with the last of the Nightmare Lords for his consent to use them. So the fiends called a Gloom Meet only for the purpose of killing. They lured the Nightmare Lord there to kill him, and when he arrived, the fiends set upon him. He beseeched the other nightmares for aid, but they only watched, their eyes aflame as their lord was attacked. The fiends tried to put him in the dead book. They scattered the earth with caltrops covered with the foulest poisons in the hells, hurled barbed cold iron spears a league wide into him, and when he tried to take it to the air to escape, they turned the sky alight with magic. Where's our K there? Blinding his eyes white. They struck at him with everything in their hateful arsenal, but no matter what they struck him with, he was too proud to die. They hounded him to the edge of the Outlands, firing their cruel arrows and spears into him until he staggered into the hinterland mists and died there, or so it is said. For those wondering, the hinterlands is, to a certain extent, the area beyond the Outlands. So all of the planes are infinite. Every level of each plane is infinite, although not necessarily in the same way that you might expect infinite distance to manifest itself. but the Outlands themselves are. But there is a center point. It's the spire above which Sigil rests, and 1,000 miles out are all of the gate towns, which spring up at the borders between the Outlands and the rest of the plains. However, you can go beyond that, and that is the hinterlands. Let's see. It's said that as the Nightmare Lord stumbled into the mists of the hinterlands, his dark blood left a steaming trail across the landscape. Wherever his blood fell, the Outland itself cried out, wailing like a banshee, uttering the cries the Nightmare Lord would not. Less than a year later, the Somian rode from the hinterlands, seeking out any nightmares and fiends where they could find them. Their cries were the same as had risen from the blood wounds on the Outlands, and their minds were focused solely on revenge. It is said that gripping the heart of the Somian and wishing harm upon another will cause them to appear. The Somian will answer the user's call, then fade into the mists from which they came. Interesting. Alright, so, well, I wonder if that's what that is. So you could use that. So could you. You could also get the spider bracelet. You can't use any of those. Prices aren't too bad for those. Your strength is 17. Okay. That would be good for Decon. Yes, I am. Weapons and charms. Okay. Wait, didn't I buy that? Oh, is that just a one-time thing? Oh, permanent +1 to Constitution. I can buy more? I assume that only works once, though. Okay, let's go ahead and buy that. Let's buy that. There you go. There you go.
May my face lend me strength.
That surprised me. I was not expecting that. Yes, I am. The exotic items. Vrischika smiles as you look at the various shelves in the middle of the shop. You see nothing you like here. If you see nothing you like here, there are more items towards the front and the back of the store as well. Examine the Fiend's Tongue, Gorgon Salve, metallic cube figurine, monster jug, to the front, to the back. You examine what appears to be a tongue floating in a jar of brine. Vrischika frowns at it. This is a fiend's tongue, a Cornigon's, I think, but who really knows? It's said that placed into the mouth of any living thing, it will give the ability of speech, even if there was none before. I'm selling this oddity for only 66 coppers, should you want it. I'll take it. It's only 66. Exotic items again. Gorgon Salve. Vrischika holds it up for you. I traded for this with some sword-slinging prime worlder. Perseus, I think, was his name. Smeared onto the surface of any being turned to stone, it will revert them to flesh. Only 100 copper commons. A bargain, considering how handy it might be, how handy it might come in should you ever find a friend of yours transmuted to rock. I'll take it. Exotic items. Metallic cube figurine. You examine a small metal replica of a cube-like creature with huge eyes on one of its faces. The toy has 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 folding wings, and at least 18 points of articulation. Vrischika smiles as you pick it up. A collector's item, perhaps, or a piece of artwork, who knows? But I like it. If you do buy it, ask around. Someone might know more about it than I. You can have it for only 1,500 copper coins. Well, I think we found our Modron companion, if we can figure out how to break whatever curse is on him. 1,500, huh? I'll take it. What is money, really?
Yes, Vrischika purrs. A wise choice.
The copper you pour into her hand seems to disappear the moment it touches her palm. She hands you the item.
Please enjoy your newest acquisition.
Exotic items again. Monster jug. You examine a plain-looking jug. Despite its common appearance, you feel reluctant to touch the thing, as if it might bite you. Vrischika watches you chuckling, then shrugs.
It's a jug. It's got some sort of monster trapped in it. That's why your hair's prickling up like that. If you'd like it, it's only 123 copper.
I'll take it. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Alright. Yes, I am. Exotic items. Front of the store. Baby oil, chocolate quasit, Codex of the Inconceivable, Deva's Tears, Elixir of Horrific Separation. Back of the, let's see, Stained Lens, Yevra's Ring, Rune-Covered Ailstein, Tattered Ragdoll. This is Yevra's Ring. Examine a ring in a small padded case. Vrischika holds it up so that you can see it more closely.
This is Yevra's Ring of almost invisibility. It makes its wearer invisible. Well, almost. I will part with it for a meager sum of 349 copper commons.
You see the other things again, because I have been spending a lot of things. Stained lens. You examine a stained ground glass lens the width of your hand, held in a brushed steel ring. A small geared protrusion coming off the ring makes it look as if the lens should attach to some sort of clockwork machine, and it smells faintly of horrible perfume. Vrischika holds it up for you.
I have no idea what this really is, but it radiates fairly powerful magic. An old soldier named Gissus brought it up to me from a lower plane battlefield. He'd murdered his own men in order to escape his tour of duty there, and brought me a number of interesting items he'd collected over the course of the campaign. I've kept it mostly as a conversation piece, though you may have it for 149 copper coins if you'd like.
Maybe when we get our, Modron companion. Examine the rune-covered Ailstein. You examine a large pewter Ailstein covered with strange runes. Vrischika holds it up for you to see more closely.
An ale mug of unusual manufacture which keeps its contents, usually beer of course, icy cold, whatever the surrounding temperature. 299 copper commons, and you'll enjoy the frostiest ale you've ever had outside of the paraplane of ice.
Tattered ragdoll. The years have not been kind to this tiny ragdoll. It is coming apart at the seams, and it looks like its threads are unraveling. It is obviously intended to be a replica of the Lady of Pain, but the button eyes and its plush softness don't strike much fear into your heart. Vrischika holds it up for you.
This was found in a well-trapped strongbox sunk deep beneath the surface of Sigil. It was part of a small hoard of treasure and forbidden magical texts, though I don't know what it's for. If you'd like it, it's only 99 copper coins.
Alright, so I imagine that most of these things will... Well, actually, there's probably a lot of things that are, just, red herrings and stuff like that. Let's examine the baby oil. You examine a number of small bottles, each labeled as baby oil. Vrischika picks up one and presents it to you.
Interested? It's the real thing, of course. Thousands of mewling mortal babies went into the making of this stuff.
You have no choice to... You have no option to actually take it. Let's examine the chocolate closet. You examine a twisted little imp-like creature sculpted out of pure milk chocolate.
It looks delicious, does it not? Imported from the lower plains. These are rare, you know, and quite prized by lovers of chocolate and confections. It's a real quasit, a fiendish familiar, polymorphed into chocolate by powerful sorcery. It's only 199 coppers.
Let me see other things again. Codex of the Inconceivable. You examine a rather unassuming book held closely by a tiny brass lock.
That, coos Vrischika, is the Codex of the Inconceivable. I'll only say that it's just, well, I cannot explain it. Mere words simply won't suffice. You can own it yourself for a mere 1,000 copper commons, and believe me, it is well worth it.
Then why don't you sell it for more? Besides, I'm at 2048 right now. It's a good number. Davis Tears. You You examine a small glass vial labeled as Deva's Tears.
These were collected from a Deva who was captured during a blood war skirmish. The fiends tormented the imprisoned angel for eons before he at last escaped. This small bottle holds the 12 tears he shed in that time. Their price is but 100 copper commons.
Okay. Elixir of Horrific Separation. You examine a bottle labeled as Elixir of Horrific Separation. Vrischika presents it to you.
This stuff was compounded by a scholar who found she possessed a darker half, a side of her which took control at times and bade her to do awful things. This potion was to have split the darker half away from her, creating two separate beings. Mercy killers, however, found and executed her for a string of depraved murders before she could use it. I'd charge you only 200 copper commons for the elixir.
No thanks. Alright, so let's see. Modron Cube. This small metal toy is a replica of a cube-like mechanical creature with huge eyes on one of its faces. The toy has 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 folding wings, and at least 18 points of articulation. Maybe it's a collector's item. The intricacy of this toy is incredible. Its joints are composed of tiny gears, cogs, pulleys, and swivel joints. And there are even tiny springs on the legs that help support the feet. There's a little switch on the back that moves the eyes back and forth, and the wings are made of some tissue-like metal that folds up neatly when the wings are flush with the body. Despite the toy's awkward shape, it rests easily on any surface, no matter how uneven. Alright, you can hold that. Alright, well, let's use that. Constitution is now 10. Constitution increased permanently. Decanter of Endless Water with command word. Note, this item can be used, can only be used through dialogue with an object or creature. Decanters of Endless Water are so awesome. Should totally be able to use that. Fiend's Tongue. I don't know what that might be useful for. Monster Jug. So I can use that. Well, let's hold on to that. Kind of tempted to identify what this stuff is right now, so let's go ahead and do that. Gerace's ring, +3 to save versus poison. Small silver ring looks like it belongs on a woman's finger. It feels slightly warm to the touch and has the power to offset poison that has entered the wearer's bloodstream. I actually figured it would be that again. Can you wear it? Sure, let's give it to you for now. It might be a, something related to a, still can't identify that. Some quest or another. Yeah, I did have one of those. Well, shoot. Clip copper piece. Minor copper blessing. Let's give it to you for now. Luck might be more useful to you. Bone Dagger. Abyssal Pipe. Cloud Kill. Ooh. It doesn't stack, though, does it? No. Alright, well, all we need is for someone to hold that, so... There we go. You can have the Cloud Kill. Alright, so if I quick save and I use this... Seriously? Holy cow. Yes, I am. Weapons and Charms. Can I literally just keep buying these and get an unlimited supply of... That seems... That seems overpowered. go ahead and sell the bone dagger there. I can sell the pouches. Yeah, they're probably not good for anything. So all of these. Sell the monster jug back to her for 80. All right, well we can. Yeah, that seems weird that we can just buy that. Okay. Well, we got some money back. All right. Well, when we return, we'll see if we can talk to her about some other things. And then we will move on with the exploration of the Clerk's Ward. See you next time, everyone.